Good morning. Ooh, Boston has entered the chat. Yes, it has. Wednesday, July 30th, a.k.a. Trade Deadline Eve. Here inside our Salem 5 studio live. Travis Thomas, the Kasey Hudson. So good to see you, my friend.
I can't get over that key you just hit opening the show. Sorry, that's where I got stuck. I was like, wow. Yeah. He went there.
It's funny, like in my panic of the countdown of the show, I'm taking notes, I'm moving things around, I'm taking sips, I'm doing all kinds of stuff, and then they're like, you're on, and I immediately go to singing.
Breaking the song.
It's like a default setting in me. I don't get it.
You are Disney.
Yeah, I guess I am.
Yeah, we appreciate you, though.
I'll let you know when I start making that kind of money. You know what I mean? But coming up in the show, we'll talk about the good, bad, and the ugly from Patriots training camp. And yes, there was some ugly. We'll get into that. And hey, you know what, Case? Red Sox won last night.
Yeah.
Will they win at the trade deadline tomorrow? We'll get into that too.
Yeah, excited about that. And then, of course, we got to brush up on a little bit of Bruins talk. Just because the offseason doesn't mean that things aren't going down, which means we got 2 A's heading into the upcoming season. What does that mean for the captaincy or lack thereof?
Yeah.
And then always keeping a pulse check on James Higgins, as we know that people are just waiting for him to grace a Beast sweater, but not quite yet. He is still putting up pretty passes for USA, that is, so we'll get into that a little bit.
In Minnesota?
In Minnesota.
Don't you know?
Sorry, I forgot my Minnesota accent.
By the way, email us at chat@nesson.com, tweet at us using the hashtag NessonChat, or call us. We're just 617-790-0928. We always get to your voicemails. We love hearing from you, so call us, get involved. Let's get into Patriots training camp, because I say good, bad, and the ugly.
Yeah.
Here's the ugly. The offensive line, we could just end the show there. Thank you. The offensive line continues to be an issue for this team, okay? So we're already trying to figure it out, okay? Yesterday, thrice, 3 offensive linemen go down. Morgan Moses, Garrett Bradbury, Yasir Durant, all left practice early. Morgan Moses, he was in one-on-ones, kind of got, tweaked something, left, came back, didn't practice again, but at least he was out there, good sign. Garrett Bradbury, same thing. He was in the pile, 11-on-11 play, slow to get up, walked gingerly off the field, was unable to participate in the rest of practice, was back out there. So again, good sign. Nothing catastrophic here, okay? So all these guys getting banged up. We're already trying to figure out the offensive line case.
Yeah.
Second-year quarterback in Drake May. New coaching staff in Vrabel and McDaniels and the rest of the crew. I mean, the last thing you need with an already, I don't want to call them bad because we're not to the season yet, but certainly in past years, a really bad offensive line. You're trying to upgrade that, and now guys are getting banged up this early in camp. That's concerning.
Yeah, it's definitely concerning on the injury front, and all we asked for was a little bit more stability from this offensive line heading into the upcoming season. But I'll say this. We still didn't know what this offensive line was going to look like, what they were going to be capable of. You kind of alluded to it already at one point to say, like, we've had guys moving around, and we think that throwing the word versatile on these players means, like, hey, we'll just figure it out and go from there. So I think the only hope here is that between a coaching standpoint and Drake May knowing and acknowledging what he's dealing with going into his sophomore season, you're not expecting them to be anything spectacular. You're expecting them to do just enough, but you're game planning around the fact of there's potential failure ahead.
So you're saying I should stop saying that this offensive line is at rock bottom because technically it could get worse. Is that what you're telling me?
Well, we opened the show talking about 3 offensive linemen being injured already. Like, I know that we keep saying, like, football is here, and there's going to be a football game being played this week, but we're still not sniffing the regular season, and we're talking about injuries that are going to impact an already fractured offensive line. It's terrifying, but you know what isn't terrifying?
What?
Game planning accordingly and having an athletic quarterback, and that just brings me to the let's play the comparison game. Drake May. Josh Allen.
Oh, we're doing this.
When did Drake May and Josh Allen have to start kind of solidifying when to use their talent versus when to use their athleticism? I know that Josh Allen got tested in 2022 when his offensive line just went down injury by injury by injury by injury. I mean, it was a terrible look. But when you face that kind of adversity in certain parts of your career, you can kind of see the stretch of where things can go from a hopeful aspect, and that's the positive I can pull from this while they're still figuring things out, and some of the competition with what little depth they do have.
That's a good point. Listen, a lot of people have compared. You're right. Drake May to Josh Allen. I've also heard Justin Herbert comparisons as well. Both of them, Herbert and Allen, have had offensive line issues in their career, and seemingly now they're okay, and we see better versions of them because of it.
Yeah.
I just don't want it to take a lot of years. Like in Josh Allen's case, since you went there, it almost, to me, feels as though it didn't get until now when he had a really solid offensive line, a run game. Say it louder for the people in the back.
Run.
It was not Stephon Diggs and all the toys on the outside to throw to. It was when Josh Allen got the offensive line figured out and a run game in James Cook, who they still haven't paid, by the way, another topic for another chat. But that's when we saw MVP, Josh Allen.
I love that you went there. You went there.
It's not a coinky dink.
No, it's not. And then before any sort of camps even took place, we were like, okay, getting running backs that you can rely on, that's going to help alleviate Drake May as well. Because part of the thing with Josh Allen was like, okay, he was being a little too risky when he made the decision to run, and then his ball security was coming kind of at a fault as well. So there's a number of things that Drake May can take from other quarterbacks that are looked at as athletic quarterbacks and bring into this offense. And I think this is the perfect offense for him to grow in, regardless of what's going on with the offensive line.
I tell you what, offensive line-wise, Jared Wilson, the rookie, is getting a lot of love. Because, look,
Georgia just breeds those offensive
They
linemen.
really do. And defensive linemen. I think just trenches, right? Like,
that's true. Trench US.
Yeah. SEC. Georgia, just say it, Georgia. That sounds like trenches, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like you say Georgia, and I think sweet tea and buttermilk biscuits. Damn, that sounds good.
And put that on an offensive lineman and a defensive lineman, and you've got strong. No, what I like about this,
they're dogs.
George actually mentioned it last week when he was on the grounds at Gillette Stadium, that there was a competition already kind of ramping up at that center position because Wilson was coming in and turning some heads there.
Well, one of the reasons you draft him, I remember them talking about this, was his versatility. Yes, he's a center, but he can also play guard. And that's one of the reasons why I think he's getting a lot of love right now, because of that versatility, because you're still, trying to figure out the offensive line. Now, I will say this. What's working against, well, maybe for, depending how you look at it, for or against the offensive line is how good this defensive line is. Now, on one hand, you could say, well, it's working against them. That's why they're getting hurt, because this damn defensive line, it's a bunch of junkyard dogs. And they're right. But then on the other side, that's how you get better, especially with a bunch of young guys. Like we just talked about Wilson, like obviously Will Campbell. Young guys going against this monstrous defensive line helps as well. Harold Landry actually talked about just how good this pass rush has been early on here at camp.
I've been saying I'm excited. I couldn't be more excited to be here and to play with the guys that we have up front. Because like I've been saying, the sky's the limit for us. We just got to focus on coming out here and improving on our techniques every single day and not taking any day for granted, because every day means something. Yeah, I would say it's the versatility, the playmaking ability. I think everybody has a chance to go out there and dominate the game, and that's what makes it exciting. You never know who's going to be the one to pop off, and that's why these days are so important, because we're getting a feel for each one of us, and we want us all to be working in unison together.
Case, we talk so much, and rightfully so, about Christian Gonzalez and Carlton Davis and the back end of the defense, and it is important, and it could be special, but it starts up front with these big boys. If they can get after these quarterbacks, and a lot of these quarterbacks on the Patriots' schedule suck, okay? So if this pass rush can get home, this defense has a potential to be special.
When you cannot see the neck on your defensive lineman, you know that the hunt is going to be fun.
Greg, can we get that shot back with no sound? Can we just see a talking head? I want to examine the neck here.
Yeah,
Go on,
well,
Case.
I can tell you, the no neck stands for how bullish this defensive line has the capability of.
You're right, Casey. There's not a neck in sight, just traps and a head.
You're right. No, my brother used to say that, pissed him off when I'd said that to him. But in all reality, we do talk so much about the secondary, but we did hear from Mike Vrabel and a couple of the players how like the point of emphasis was also going to be getting into the quarterback. And you've got such a mastermind that's going to strategically make sure that these dogs can get through and get to these quarterbacks. And if we're going to see how much of it is reality versus just kind of hyperfixation of potential in those first couple of weeks there. Because can you get through when you play against the Raiders? Can you get through? What are you looking at?
Oh, I'm just looking up how to build a giraffe neck.
No.
Because mine, I'm just trying to.
You cannot walk into Nesson Studios with no neck.
Welcome to Austin has entered the chat. I'm your host, Travis Thomas. Me and my traps are going to. I'm sorry, go on. I'm sorry.
Unhinged.
It's too early for this.
We're going to see how realistic this pass rush is in the first couple of weeks because they should be able to dominate the top of the schedule. Picturing you with no neck.
No neck.
Yeah, there it is.
I will say this. I have so many concerns about the offensive line. However, I am giving them a bit of a pass here as we're talking about this defensive line because they're that damn good. And I just think this defensive line is going to give even really good offensive lines problems when we get to the real thing in the regular season.
Yeah.
I do believe this defense in totality has an opportunity to be special like we're talking about, but it starts up front. These guys got to get home. Case, I talk about how bad the offensive line has been the past few years. I could equally say, since Judon's been gone, there's been no pass rush either. So both of these things in the trenches, we were talking about this with the Georgia Dogs, but in the trenches for the Patriots, they have to get better on both sides of the ball. And it appears as though they are. That's all.
Yeah, I mean, I can't speak to the trenches on the offensive side quite yet.
Not yet.
I think that this is a really good learning curve because we already said heading into this, if there's one part or aspect of this new Patriots team that we could rely on, it's going to be the defense first.
Yeah.
What you don't want to do is tax out your defense when it comes to every game. But I think that what helps with this defense being so strong and presenting that strength in training camp is how well we're going to see this offense game plan.
Yes.
Because it's just playing smarter. And,
It is.
You know, we also talk about Drake May. We talk about his development, what's going to happen behind this offensive line. Everyone knows how high I am on Henderson, and if you like it or not, Drake May and Stephon Diggs have a vibe. These two are finding each other. There's connections taking place. And there was actually some good plays coming out of their red zone focus throughout training camp also. And Vrabel alluded to that. So when we see all of these things, I think that this defense is only going to make this offense smarter. And we're going to see execution with purpose versus panic. We don't want to see Drake May panicking.
This is why I call you the Kasey Hudson, because it is so impressive that we went 12 minutes without saying Drake May's name. But now that we're here, let's talk about it, because I've been saying ad nauseum.
Saying it.
I need to see him on the move by design. Not running for his life, Case, like we've seen last season. No, let's design. Let's get him on bootlegs. Let's get a little QB waggle action. Let's get him on RPO. Let's see some of that athleticism that we know he has, not with his hair on fire, but by design. Josh Dobbs talked about how in a Josh McDaniels offense, we're going to see just that.
It does. Like, we're bouncing ideas off of each other, things that I've done other places, things that Drake has done in college or last year. I was with Ashton Grant in Cleveland, and we've been able to bring stuff that we had and had success with in Cleveland as well. So it's been a collaborative effort. There's a lot of experience across the coaching staff on the offensive side of the ball. And so I think guys are adding their different inputs, their nuances, different twists on the offense. So we're trying to keep defenses on their heels and attack every play. So I think with the guys we have in the room, we can do a really good job with that all year. It's good. Definitely in the red zone, when you can smell the end zone, that definitely feels good. But Josh has explained, like, he wants to use our skill set and athleticism at the QB position as another way to keep the defense on their heels. And so obviously situationally, when we need it, we'll be able to pull it out and make plays with our legs. But outside of that, we'll make sure we're in the right play, pick defenses apart. And definitely we just want to have like forward momentum every time we take the field.
Thank you, Josh Dobbs. Now I'm not insecure about my neck
Such
anymore.
a
That's
cool
just
dude.
a nice giraffe like me. No, like, now I feel good again. Thank you, Josh Dobbs.
You're not a trenches player. That's all that means.
I'm not a player at all.
It doesn't take anything else away from how cool you are. Just don't put you in the trenches.
I think I deserve a gold jacket for how I held it down on the bench.
Oh.
I was the best bench player ever all time. The
Well,
GOAT.
Speaking of a gold jacket bench player, would you take athleticism versus talent or talent versus athleticism?
Say it again slower.
Would you take athleticism over talent or talent over athleticism?
Oh, damn, I think I'd take athleticism.
'Cause
I got that dog.
What can pull through for you?
I got that dog.
Yeah.
I just don't have I don't have a superpower.
rest-
Yeah, no, I don't have the rest of the package.
rest of the
I got the
things.
dog, but I don't have the rest of the package.
I think that this is a pretty athletic roster. in
It
all
is, and they're
honesty.
young.
Yeah, and I feel like
Casey.
that's going to help really make this this system that much more flashy, but like easier to execute for these guys. Like even though we're seeing kind of where the learning curve is coming in for each player individually,
Yes.
we're still seeing a lot of progress early on in training camp for such
Yeah.
an intricate system.
Yeah, you're right. Listen, I may not get those traps like Harold Landry.
Yeah, never.
However, when it comes to the belly, the amount of wings that I'm going to eat tomorrow with the trade deadline and football on my television, oh, Lord, I'm telling you right now, I want all the wings.
Where's the good wing spot in Boston? I don't know. Somebody let me know. Somebody let me know.
Buffs.
Oh, no.
That's where it is. Yeah, we'll talk about it. All right, still to come here on Boston has entered the chat. We'll switch gears, get into what's trending in the world of sports. And of course, we're talking that trade deadline for the Red Sox as well. Stick with us. We got all that and then some right here on Boston has entered the chat. And remember, we've got you every day, Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. on Nesson, 9 a.m. right here on Nesson Nation. Welcome back to Boston has entered the chat. You saw that logo. Sox win! Woo! 8-5 last night over the Twins. Should be a series win already, but another topic for yesterday's chat. I won't get into it. Thought it was a fluke in game one, but whatevs. They win last night, Case. That's all that matters. Giolito, 6 innings, strong. Roman, RBI. Breggy staying hot. Duran hit one to the moon, baby. Every time I look up, Sadon is making defensive play of the year again and again and again. Doesn't even matter where he plays in the field. He's making plays. This team is fun. They are exciting. They got the win last night. We all want to talk trade deadline. We'll get to it. Relax. Let's just bask in the win last night for a moment.
Yeah, when they're feeling it, it's so exciting to
Yes.
watch, especially because you see more of the individual personalities. I mean, the stare down after the curveball that Giolito had, and that smirk on the end of it that's like, I can switch it up on you. And then Sedan, as Pap says, I love when Pap says it, but the diving play in the 7th, I mean, all of these things that they were able to pull through on when they were counted against it beforehand. They
Yeah.
came to life in the 3rd inning, so you kind of want to see these things happen quicker, but last time we said that we weren't seeing them show up in those later innings either. So this is a team that keeps you on your toes, but
It
the
does.
excitement and the vibe is very much there.
All right, let's talk about it then, because Chris Cotillo from Mass Live was on our show yesterday, and we were peppering him with questions about the trade deadline. That's what we all want to talk about. It is tomorrow, of course. Here's what Cotillo said about the Red Sox maybe not going after the big splashy names like we originally thought they would.
Yeah, obviously control is going to be expensive. When you think about what Joe Ryan would cost, I'm sure the Twins are right now drawing the line at Roman Anthony plus. That's just not going to happen. So those conversations are not even worth having, really, if you're the Red Sox. So, always this time of year, I think teams who have those controllable guys look at it and say, if you blow us away before 6 o'clock on Thursday, maybe we'll do something. Otherwise, we can hold this guy to the offseason and hold a prolonged bidding war where everybody's a contender theoretically, except still the Rockies. They'll be, somehow out of it in the offseason too. But mostly these teams are all going to be, trying to contend, trying to build their rosters. Any team can use a starting pitcher who's under control for 2 or 3 years.
Yep.
There's just not that urgency in the next couple of days unless you blow a team away. I think last year it's come out that the Red Sox asked on Crochet and were told Anthony and Meyer and plus, and if you want to do that, you get them for the stretch run. They didn't. And by the time the offseason rolled around, the price was Teal and Montgomery and Mydroth and Gonzalez, the package that got it done. So if a team gets stupid for some of these guys, great, then those guys will move. Otherwise, the rentals are going to. I like, to me, guys who have been tested in the postseason, guys who you've seen, do it before. Charlie Morton is old, but he's a guy that's done it, and he's been better the last couple months. Gallen and Kelly, Arizona was in the World Series a couple years ago. Shane Bieber's a guy who's had, I know it's a weird situation where he's rehabbing his way back, but track record of success in the major leagues. You get, I don't know if reclamation project is the way to describe all of those guys. Some of them definitely are. Gallen has not had the year that he's accustomed to in Arizona, but guys that have done it before and hope they get on a heater for 2 months. We've seen them try different ways to do that in the past. Last year it was Paxton. There's people talk about that move not working. Like Paxton was a similar kind of addition as Nate Eovaldi was in 2018, probably one level below. But sometimes those are going to work out great. Sometimes they aren't. Maybe if the Red Sox do one of those with some upside, their rotation looks a lot better. But again, the depth pool is super depleted right now. And we're going to see, I think, them try to add to that.
What's interesting from that take is I felt like winning the Dodgers series specifically, I thought that would put pressure on Breslow and the front office to go out and be very aggressive, maybe even before the trade deadline, right? And we haven't seen that, but this is just where my head was. I actually think now, though, it wasn't so much winning, putting pressure on the front office to go out and make a big splashy move. I actually think now the front office is looking and saying, this team and the chemistry, we don't want to break that up. Right. We don't want to break up. They're tight, they're close, they're having fun. We talked about that before we got into the soundbite. I think now they're thinking, let's add without subtracting, okay? Like, let's see what we can get without giving up too much to just help what we have going. And I bet you they'll look for high character players, too, that can fit into what you do have in this clubhouse because they are tight-knit. You say what you want about this group, about they need this or they need that in terms of a wish list for position. But at the end of the day, this team fights. They are tight. They are tight-knit. Cora has a great pulse on it. That's why they had to get Devers out of here. I get it. I didn't love the return, but I get it. I think now, looking at this, it's just a matter of if all of us can wrap our head around, there's not going to be the big splashy moves. But some of the names he said, Charlie Morton, Merrill Kelly, Zach Gallen, I mean, I can live with that if you're telling me I don't have to give up too much to get one of them. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah, of course it makes sense. So, like, while listening to that, I made a note and put a curated DNA of the clubhouse. And I think that when you make the move that they did, which is moving on from Devers because of all of the different speculations that took place, and then you just kind of see how this team found a new pulse after that, you talk about this being a business, and of course it's a business. There's always going to be that aspect of it, but I think a part of the business that we don't discuss is like when you have a pulse of a locker room, when you curate the DNA and identity, how many different Boston teams are we talking about right now that are in search of their identity, and therefore we can't talk about what they're going to produce on the other end? That part is just as important. And you've seen Durant do certain interviews where he talks about how they hold each other accountable, how they're able to have tough conversations with one another in the clubhouse. So this isn't somewhere where you would just kind of light a dynamite and throw a personality into the mix. I think it's just more like who can just add a little bit more of a level up here, and we know where that comes in, adding an arm to the mix-up. I think Kelly's an interesting name for a reason because it was talked about on Unobstructed Views how maybe the price point and the competition of price points just got too high. There's teams that are willing to trade valuable players because they're on a win-now basis. This is their last opportunity kind of thing, and therefore they're going to throw more into the pot, where the Red Sox are like, look at the curation of the DNA of the personalities that we have here. We've got a good group. We just need to add a level up to it. With that being said, the Tigers were pretty high up on Kelly last I was hearing, but now it seems like they're shifting gears, focusing on more of a relief pitcher. So if there's teams that start to get hyper-focused on just adding one different element, you might see some names pop back up into the mix. Not that we have much more time to figure that out. We've got less than 24 hours, but that's where I find Kelly to be a bit interesting in terms of like where they need to.
No problem. I don't have a problem with Merrill Kelly. I like Zach Gallen. Now, his situation's a little different. It is a rental. He's looking for a deal. He's 29, I believe. But listen, that's a guy that I don't necessarily think that needs to be a rental either. I think you go trade for a Zach Gallen, right? He gets here, change of scenery. Maybe you get back that. He was once an ace, Casey. Maybe you can kind of tap back into that, whatever, and he pitches better, and then you work out a deal with him. I don't necessarily look at a lot of this stuff as a rental, too. I know a lot of people talk about that.
Do you feel like rental is the only avenue right now?
I think it's the realistic avenue because you don't know, right? I mean, hell, technically, Bregman's a rental. Technically, if you think about the way his deal's structured, he could walk right out of your life. all this stuff. So look, in the end, you have to go for it now. This is the American League we're talking about. There is no dominant team here. So if I'm the Sox, I'm willing to add any of these guys. I mean, you talk about Merrill Kelly and you heard rumors for the Tigers. That's the last team I want to get. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I just think right now the American League's wide open. You have to make some moves. You have to be aggressive. Sean McAdam of Mass Live has really said the Sox have kind of readjusted their sights as it pertains to pitching for this team at the deadline.
Yeah, I mean, we had, I think, started high on our expectations about what they might be able to do at the deadline and speculated that maybe if they were willing to give up a major league player like Jarren Duran and throw in another prospect, that could get them a number 2 type starter. That now seems completely off the table given the asking price. And now it's they've readjusted their sights a little bit to the point where they just need a back of the rotation guy, whether that be Charlie Morton, whether that be Merrill Kelly, whether that be anybody like that on a rental. They need someone to make 8 or 10 starts here the rest of the way, because the way things are going, Fitz has not demonstrated that he's capable of giving them even 5, never mind 6 innings. And you're not getting Hunter Dobbins back. You're not getting all the people that we've run through. Cutter Crawford, likely not going to see Tanner Houck again. If we do, it's probably not in time to build up the start, maybe out of the bullpen. But the calendar is starting to work against them. Patrick Sandoval is not riding to the rescue as they had hoped he might be over the final 2 months. So they need a back-end starter. That would not seem to be impossible to find, but it will be expensive just because of the number of teams in the market looking for any pitching they can get whatsoever.
Yeah, listen, every trade deadline is very similar. Every team's always looking for pitching. Always. Every team's always looking for a bat, okay? And you know what? All the above is always available at the deadline. So this isn't like a situation where there's not enough pie slices to go around. Again, and it goes back to what we were talking about here, Case. What are the Red Sox willing to give up? That's the key. That determines the slice of the pie.
Yeah.
How big of a piece do you want? Because you got to pay to play here. You're going to have to give something up to get something back. In my world, these names were thrown out: Charlie Morton, Merrill Kelly. I like Zach Gallen, Shane Bieber, whatevs. I'll take any one of them and Yandy Diaz from the Rays, and I'm good.
You calm down on that one.
I know. By the way, I don't think that's going to happen. I know there's, rumors that the Rays are willing to part with him, whatever.
Yeah.
I ain't buying that. But in my dream world, if I can get one of those arms, maybe some bullpen help too, and a Yandy, I'm cool.
Yeah.
I'm
I think
good.
the interesting part about it is just how they're evaluating it, I think, series by series, because if you take it back a couple of weeks, even July 23rd, you were hearing from ESPN analysts saying that, like, the Red Sox were still going in as hard buyers, and that has shifted. So I don't think it's going to be an explosive trade deadline, for one. I think it's going to be a bit on the calmer side. I don't think that they have to make too many big moves. I know fans want to see a lot of different things: first base, catcher, whatever the case may be.
Yes.
But most importantly, it's just going to be the arm.
I also think we have to give some love and some props and give their flowers to Bayo and Giolito, because obviously Crochet's Crochet. And he has lived up to the hype that he came in with. He came in with hype.
Yeah.
And he's lived up to it. So we're going to give him his just due. Cy Young, if you're asking me. But Bayo and Giolito specifically. Bayo, I thought his last outing should have won. He didn't get any run support. But he's been pitching well lately, and we saw Giolito last night.
Yeah.
They have done a really good job.
Yeah.
And so it puts the Sox in a position, really an advantage of, we just need someone on the back end. I kind of want a number 2 starter, to be honest. Like, I would like the big, sexy name.
Yeah.
But if all these reports are true, and our Mass Live boys broke this down for us, and they get a back-of-the-rotation guy, you can live with it because of how Bayo and Giolito are pitching lately.
Yeah.
They deserve credit.
Bayo took a huge turning point, roughly 4, 5, 6 weeks ago. So just seeing the trajectory that he's consistently been on, and when he gets run support, how great that's been to witness. And then Giolito, we were holding him in high regard heading into the All-Star break.
Yeah.
Rust was coming kind of in the mix coming out of All-Star break, but I think he started to find it again, and we saw a lot of those notabilities in his game last night.
I do not think we're here Friday melancholy. Like, oh, they didn't do anything. I don't think that's happening. Now, it may not be splashy, Case,
right,
but I think the Red Sox will do something. They have to.
Something will take place.
All right, there it is. Hey, we have more. Boston has entered the chat next. Make sure you roll with us. But hey, speaking of the trade deadline, you better keep it on Nesson that day. Here for Boston has entered the chat, 3:10 to left, and then the trade deadline special all day long, right here on Nesson. Keep it locked. Time now for what's trending in the world of sports and your group chat, which is what Casey and I do. We get all in your business. Did you see this? AI, not Allen Iverson. I miss when AI stood for Allen Iverson.
Let's bring it back.
AI, the robot AI, like they're taking over. AI fooled Boston Celtics fans with fake trade rumors. Fake news.
Rude.
Take a look at this. So maybe you saw this tweet yesterday and you thought, oh my, according to sources, a 1-for-1 trade that sends newly acquired Anthony Simons to Brooklyn in exchange for Claxton could be mutually beneficial? Per Charlotte Baker? She sounds real. This has to be reputable. Wrong. Look at this. Al Horford Pacino. Fantastic Twitter name, by the way. Nice handle. These terrible accounts need to get media literate or leave us alone. Charlotte Baker, she appears to be another one of these AI-generated reporters on AI content called Motorcycle Sports. Come on, brah.
Why? Why is this a thing? And then it makes me hate emojis. It makes me hate how to put a
What did
proper
emojis
tone.
do?
Because some parts of these AI things, like they're so lively with all the emojis and stuff, and you're like, okay, this has to be an overly spirited person, and then you turn out it's not. So now you don't want to be that person. Not that I was like ever too high up on it, but no, it's just it's getting out of hand. There's got to be some sort of boundaries
There
here.
are
and
pregnant
Celtics fans are going through enough this offseason.
There's pregnant LeBron James on social media because of AI. We are looking at LeBron James having children, and Steph Curry's the dad. That's what AI is doing.
Disturbing the peace before 9 a.m., Travis, really?
I mean, it's not me. I can barely check my email. I don't have the bandwidth to be doing all of this. But LeBron's getting those people off. The people I'm talking about, LeBron went after them. He's like, oh, no, you're not doing this to me.
You have to. Keep me out of your AI. That's what I would like to say.
I don't blame AI for this. I blame the Celtics.
Oh.
Because this offseason sucks. This is what it has come to. AI is getting involved trying to make us happy because this offseason has been stressful and very trying for us all.
Okay, we don't need AI trying to step in and make things exciting. But I will say, has it been on the boring side? Yes, but is anybody surprised?
No.
Okay, so AI does not need to get involved to try to add any excitement to our lives. Like the reality show that never needs to be the Boston Celtics can cease to exist as of yesterday.
I'm just so over it.
Like,
I want to actually skip the season and get to when Tatum's back.
So does this false news make you feel a little bit more hopeful for these swirling rumors of Ben Simmons still?
Did you just use me, hopeful, and Ben Simmons in a sentence together?
You came in with the positive hat of influx, so I was like, let's see how much I can push this.
AI, if you're listening, help!
Don't ask for their help. That can be terrifying.
Yeah, that's a good point.
All right, what's on the docket next?
James Higgins is making plays at the IHF World Junior Showcase in Minnesota. Don't you know? This isn't shocking to anyone. Of course James Higgins is making plays, Case.
This is what we want to talk about, especially for anyone out there who's like, we got to stop inflating his name. No, you don't stop inflating what you have seen until they prove you wrong in a negative or positive context. So I will inflate James Higgins' name all day, and we have seen a number of pretty passes for U.S. Worlds. We saw a pretty, well, I almost said timely. The end result versus Sweden wasn't all that, but his clutch gear in third periods continues to shine. He found an avenue. Then you had Brody Zimmer be able to capitalize and catch a goal off of that one. But this is what you want to see out of a guy whose name is just consistently circulating the headlines. And I'm glad that it's leaning more positive and we can just continue to find and pinpoint things to highlight when it comes to Higgins, because the draft drop conversation was just too loud. The question marks about when is he going to put on that B sweater, it's all too loud. Just let the guy play.
Let him develop.
Exactly. Let the timeline come to him.
I was surprised that he dropped, and I remember talking to you about it. And it seemed like one of the biggest reasons, if not the reason, was because of his size. He's just not that big of a dude.
And there were some big dudes coming out.
And there
of
are
this
big
draft.
dudes, but he is still developing, and he does have a frame that you can put on some size.
Yeah.
Like, I get it, he's not going to be 6'6", 230,
Yeah.
but certainly he can get bigger than what he is, and he's young. So I'm with you. I don't think it was ever a question, at least I never questioned it, I know you didn't, of his playmaking ability or his talent or his gifts.
Right.
That's never been an issue. I think as we watch him develop until it is his time with the Bruins, let's just see him put on some size too. I want to see that with all this playmaking we're seeing. Let's see him get a little bit bigger, a little bit stronger as well. That's all. And I don't think that's too much to ask.
No, and it doesn't even have to be that much size. You just want to
Right.
make sure that he can be equipped enough to take on a little bit more physicality, because it is going to be different at that NHL level versus college. Although, I mean, when you go to a college hockey game, they're checking each other like crazy. So,
Yeah.
like, the consistent tide coming at you in terms of physicality is there, but the size and the strength is definitely going to be different. And then as for skill set, I think we've all said it plenty. You just want to see how he's going to function as a leader, whatever his leadership style is, for one. For two, not playing alongside Ryan Leonard or Gabe Perreault any further, but like everyone kind of harped on his point production, but it was still very much there, and that clutch gear. So we know that everything is checked out in terms of what everyone is excited about. A year ahead, some extra strength, another chip on your shoulder, more confidence. I think it only gets better from there.
All right, Case, I always come to Kasey, the Kasey Hudson, for advice on a multitude of things in life. She is a well of wisdom. I need you to now give some of that wisdom to Trey Hendrickson, who is clearly in a toxic relationship. Trey Hendrickson is returning and reporting to Bengals training camp, ending his holdout, but it's really a hold in because he ain't going to do a damn thing. But he wants his money. Here's a tweet from Shefty. He's planning to report to Bengals camp today, ending his holdout without being any closer to a new deal. So this stops now with him showing up. It stops to 50 bands per day that he was getting fined, and also serves as a good faith gesture to try and jumpstart renegotiations yet again. So they've already done this several times with Trey Hendrickson. He came out publicly and said, I told them I would take less. They still couldn't work it out. Here he goes again, trying to make it work. This just feels very toxic to me, Kasey.
That thing work, yeah. He answered the, what are you doing?
Yes, he did.
At 2 o'clock in the morning, and then it's just like, come on, you know how this ends. You hate yourself. No, all jokes aside.
He should have turned notifications off, then he would have never heard it.
No, he probably was up checking his phone. But all that aside, when you think of the money going, like being dished out in order to make your case, this is typically why we see guys, you know, kind of put down the I'm going to hold out and just go, because at the end of the day, there's no better reps than the actual reps that you can take at camp. So he can be working out down in Florida and doing all the things, but it's not going to probably materialize to the level of conditioning that he's going to have to be at to be prepared for any team, whatever the case may be. And then when you're getting gutted out, I mean, 50 grand, you're going to be losing more money. Then you're already telling this team that you're going to take a discount. Before you know it, like, where the money stance is going to level itself out to where you probably did all of this for nothing. But I feel like with everything taking place, just start the fresh journey. Find a team that has the capability of paying you your non-discounted rate, and then just go be productive. It's like he's scared to start a new chapter.
I don't think he's scared. I'm going to tell you my theory, and I don't think he's alone. I think it's Trey Hendrickson, and I think it's Terry McLaurin, both.
Nope.
Their gift is their curse in this sense. This is actually part of the reason why I want the Patriots to go after both. They're good guys, Kasey. I think they care about ball. I think the business side, they understand it, but they just want to go play ball. And it's like they're probably telling their agents, you know, get the deal done. Get me in camp so I can play.
Right.
And their agents are like, bro, these teams are disrespected. Their agents are probably like, this isn't going to work. It's the good friend who keeps it real, who's like, this is toxic, this isn't going to work. But these guys care so much, they're like, just make it work. And now it's getting ugly. So instead of saying, get me the hell out of here, which it sounds like you and I both think they should do, they're not doing that. They're trying to make it work. It may, but it will be at their detriment. This is one of the reasons why I think the Patriots should go after them, because it's not a Christian Wilkins situation, which we don't know what's going on. Is this guy a freak? Like, what's happening here?
Yeah.
No, these are good dudes. So these are the guys you should trade for and you should pay, because they do care about the game. They do care about their teammates. They do care.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? I think because they're such good dudes, they're just like, just get the deal done, man. I don't know. But it's at their detriment because they're not getting what they deserve.
Yeah, I would have been in that boat with you. But it's like, if you're gonna just be like, just keep me here and let's get it figured out, you could have done that a couple weeks ago before you're in the headlines with how many different cryptic messages on your social media. I mean, look, I'm not up for fanning things like that. So when you're putting things on social media and you're making it bigger, like, you have the final say. You tell your agent, I don't want to do this.
Right.
I don't want
And
to
get
do
me
this
out of here.
dance. I don't want to play this fight. Like, ask them what their number is, add a little bit to it, and let's
Right.
move on. You
Right.
have the capability of doing it. This is just dragged on so much to the point of it feels like them versus their buffer really just trying to make moves happen for them.
Okay, let's do this before
But
we
good
get.
character dudes. I'm still
They
there
are.
for that.
They
yeah.
are. All right, let's do this before we get out of here. I mean, the preseason's here, regular season's here in 5 minutes.
Right.
Do they get moved? I mean, at this point, it almost feels like they're both, Terry McLaurin and Trey Hendrickson.
They're getting worn down. They're going to stick
stuck.
around, and
All
then
right.
they're going to end up taking a bargain price.
All right.
Yeah.
That sucks.
It's the timeline on these things.
God, Patriots, you had one job. Well, two. Get on two phones.
High
call for-
energy.
Yes, both leaders.
Yep, and then like high character guys, like everything that you would want to play for is sitting right here, and you get to have extra money. But the timeline.
I know.
When are the Patriots going to be able to shake things up? Like, well, when can we wholeheartedly say the Patriots are going to shake it all up?
I agree. What else is the other thing that's disheartening to me in this case, as it pertains to the Patriots, is that you can afford both. I mean, you have so much money. You're so far under the cap. You could trade for both of these cats and give them new deals. You could give them the bag tomorrow, and they could help get you into the playoffs. We're sitting around here talking about this could be a playoff team. Depends on the AFC. Well, if Drake May, well, if the offensive line. No, you go get Trey Hendrickson and Terry McLaurin and pay them both. You're not only a playoff team this season, you're a playoff team.
Yeah.
You see that? Horizon. Yonder.
Well, last week I already said I'm selfish. I thought we were on the same page, but it's not my wallet, so.
All right, still to come here on Boston Has Entered the Chat, our Kasey Hudson talks about the Bruins. Now, that's Kasey with a K. She's going to talk about the B's as it pertains to a couple of C's. Or is it a couple of A's? Hey, if you didn't follow that, stick around. Here on Boston Has Entered the Chat. We'll explain it when we come back. Welcome back to Boston Has Entered the Chat. Travis Thomas, the Kasey Hudson here. And you know what's great? We're going to talk some Bruins off-season here. But I had Kasey on my show over the weekend on WEEI. We talked Bruins hockey. I asked her opinion on the off-season. She laid it out from free agency to draft. We landed on like a win total range that we thought for the Bruins.
Yeah.
And then we had a caller call in and say, Kasey, you're being too positive. This team this, and this team
Unrealistic.
that. And I looked, during the call, I watched Kasey go like this. Oh, okay. Just as calm. Okay, yeah. Oh, you said what? Okay. So she's taking notes. So I said, okay. Well, counsel, it was like we were in court. Counsel, present your case. She broke everything down that the caller said to a T, and then circle back to her prediction. I liked how you handled that right there, Kate.
Hey, once upon a time, wannabe Harvard girly, and then I realized I'd had to sit still a lot more than I'm capable of. So I get to bring that hope into the sports broadcasting arena. But yeah, no, look, and this is what we've heard consistently from a lot of Bruins fans. You know, whenever you feel like there's an anticipation and an ability to do something sexier and it doesn't happen, the disappointment doesn't just level down a smidge, it tanks. And it goes and just has this ripple effect of being in complete despair.
Yeah, like we're going to be the worst team in the league.
The guy
which is
compared
what
the
he was
Bruins
saying.
to the Chicago
He did.
Blackhawks and said that the Bruins will not find 25
Yeah,
wins this season.
he said they'd be one of the worst teams in the league next season, which we do not believe.
Astronomical.
Which brings us to Steve Conroy's Boston Herald article. Let's look at these quotes here. He talked to Charlie McAvoy. I want to get your thoughts on this case. Going into this year, this is Charlie's quotes now. Going into this year, we're both going to have A's. That's what I know. I don't think there's any fire under them to do anything with that. And guess what? That's totally fine. Me and Pasta are spending the time together, which I've found incredible, learning about him a little bit more, about him as a leader. Just what I'll say on that front is I love that we're going to be able to take this on together. And regardless of letters, we know that this is our team, me and him. And for however many years we get to be here, it's going to be us too, along with a lot of other guys, right? But this is our baby now, me and him. And there's nobody else that I'd rather do it with. And I know we're going to make each other better on and off the ice. That is deep stuff there from Charlie McAvoy. So I guess, kind of calling to that he and Pasta will be in the A again this season. They were last season, no biggie there.
Yeah.
But it clearly, in that statement, feels like him and Pasta are taking that next level of leadership for this team.
I think they're being more mindful
Yes.
of where and how leadership has to develop in the case that one of them does eventually graduate to a C. And
Yes.
I like that this is going to be the approach because, and we've said it a lot, you got a new head coach. You potentially have a bit of a new system that's going to be played out here for the upcoming season. You can't really just throw the captaincy at somebody who hasn't fully encompassed the direction that the team is going in quite yet.
Right.
And I know I've said it a lot in terms of like the NHL landscape changing quite a bit and like younger voices being a bit more loud. Like young guys didn't go to bat for themselves and, let people know that they deserve ice time out the gate. Like it was more of a quietly respect and success kind of thing. And so moving forward, I think it's going to be crucial that you have the right leader that knows how to speak to the different personalities in a locker room as you guys are trying to find your identity. And sometimes that A is more important. I've said this in a number of times. I mean, covering the NHL as a whole for about 4 years, but covering the Lightning for 7 years. Depending on how you're losing, depending on how you're just trying to stay in a game, it's not always your captain that has that vocality that inspires you to go out there and keep fighting. Sometimes it's the guy that, is going to rip you to shreds, or sometimes it's the player that can actually pinpoint where you're holding back or not letting go in that moment in that game. So
it's not a one-size-fits-all kind
it's
of.
never a one-size-fits-all when it comes to the leadership. And when you're looking at more of a blended locker room and, a Marco Sturm who's going to try to properly develop young guys to give them potential and opportunity, as well as having veterans just kind of take the reins in their own way, that's not something that can be rushed. They're still trying to figure out what that looks like because that's going to be new. And I feel like a lot of Original Six teams are kind of feeling this growing pain in terms of like, okay, we're an Original Six team. We want to maintain what our identity has always been, but we also need to move into modern hockey.
Right, yeah, that's a good point. I mean, Blackhawks, we brought them up. That's a team dealing with that too right now.
Super young.
If you want to talk Bruins with us, 617-790-0928. You can also tweet at us using the hashtag NESSonChat or email us at chat@nesson.com. Let's get into the players. Forget leadership for a second. Charlie McAvoy, so gifted, so talented. But I think all of us feel as though there's another level, there's another gear that he can go to in his career. Do you believe that it's this season? Because boy, could this team use it. If he's going to level up, right now would be great timing for that. Not just as a leader, but as a player on the ice. I think he has to stay healthy, number one, for a full season. How can he level up? Is there another gear to him, or am I misreading it?
No, I think there is another gear to him, and I think that that's part of the reason why there's kind of been this divide, not in a dramatic way, but divide in terms of like leadership and the captaincy, because sometimes people equate that to what they're bringing to the ice outside of the personality of all of it. So I think there's a lot of weight on his shoulders heading into this season to be like, okay, can you take the next step? But what did fans see out of him when his partner went down in Hampus Lindholm? You know what I mean? Because that individual talent, how is he able to kind of pull other guys into the fight with him or kind of help them excel around him? And he had the capability of doing so, but I think fans vocalized that they wanted to see a little bit more. But if you're going to step into a little bit of a captain role, I think there's already kind of an expectation that you have to take your game to another level in order to be so loud in a locker room. And whatever that loud may be, that's not always, of course, being, a yellow or whatever that is, it's also being loud in a sense of leading by example. And I feel like that's something else that's kind of been a conversation piece for this Bruins team, who can lead by example. I always talk about Zadorov. Some people are on the fence about it, but he has a leadership style to him, and he has a level of respect that he commands, and he does it in different ways. The first one being the fact that he is just so blunt and so direct. So I think Charlie's also going to learn things around him and maybe change his style on and off the ice in a few ways.
Okay, let's talk about another A on the B's, Pasta. It's kind of same question. How can he level up? And it's hard because every night I feel like I look up and he's a Hattie a night, right? I mean, this great goal scorer that he is, but is there not another level for him too? I mean, the way he scores, right, as prolific as he is, I look at him like you can be one of the all-time greats in this game ever, but you got to have the moments too. You need, we've seen a couple in the postseason from him, but there's another level from Pasta too. How does he get there?
Oh, that's a great question, because I mean, I feel like Pasta's one of those guys that does everything that you want and expect out of him, and for him to be able to make plays when he doesn't have secondary scoring help, or there's games where he has to do it by himself, he shows up. So
is his gear leadership then? Maybe is that the missing piece as he continues? It seems naturally like he's evolving into a leader. Is that the missing piece? As he evolves into that fully, then he'll be his best version.
I wouldn't say that's the missing piece, because you see a lot of highly skilled players have a little bit more of a quiet leadership to them. They already have so much that they're focused on and making sure that they can be that reliable key piece amongst every aspect of the game, that kind of going beyond themselves feels a little extra. So I feel like him just continuing to show up. Again, sometimes leading by example is more important than doing anything more than that.
Yeah.
And I feel like Pasta has been such a foothold for this team, regardless of it being good, bad, or indifferent. Like, I don't see much more that he needs to change. Sophie has talked about the fact that you can see a little bit more of a leadership style coming out of him, but that's probably him taking the time to talk with people more, be more vocal, kind of have the patience to explain things further, but that's just kind of drawing people into the locker room versus changing anything specific about himself.
I'm excited. I know we have a ways, but I'm excited for this season for the Bruins. I really am. And you and I landed that plane on 40 wins-ish for this team. That's where we're at. And I think that's realistic. Yeah, I think that's a realistic. I can live with that.
Yeah.
First year for Marco Sturm, like, I can live with a lot of the things. The offseason they had wasn't sexy, but they did get bigger, stronger for sure, more physical.
And Sturm still feels pretty confident about the moves that they made in the offseason. So
that's it. That's it. All right. Hey, that's it for us here on Nesson. For Boston has entered the chat, but the party can't stop, won't stop. Nesson Nation at 9. Party with us there. But thank you for joining us here. As always, we're here every Monday through Friday on Nesson at 8 a.m., 9 a.m. on Nesson Nation. And we've got everything. Daily dose of trending sports and social topics right here on Boston has entered the chat.